Nike Foamposite is known to be one of the more unique sneakers, not just the material, but also the ability of the shoe to just go wild on the design of the sneaker itself. In the past, we've seen insane colorways like the Galaxy, of course, the Supreme Foamposites, the Paranormans, but sometimes keeping it simple works just as well. Nike Air Foamposite 1 Triple White. The shoe is dropping on June 20th for $240 in the United States, and of course in 2013 we saw the white-out Foamposites. This colorway is very reminiscent of that, but it does have some deviations, mainly on the logo, on the tongue, as well as the booty, so slightly different outline. And first impressions of this shoe, I'm not like a huge Foamposite lover. At nice colorways, I'll always get them, and like legendary colorways like the Galaxies or the Pearls, definitely can't overlook them. This one, I think it's nice, but it's not like the most exciting colorway, but you can't hate on an all-white sneaker. It is still so clean, so crisp. There's just nothing to hate about this shoe. Quick 5 seconds of your time. If you like this video, if you've liked any of my past videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe. In the upper of the shoe, of course, it is Foamposite material, and the reason why it looks like this is because it was inspired by a beetle. So this is supposed to resemble a beetle's shell. And the way they make this very unique material, very durable material, is they heat up polyurethane to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. They pour it into a very expensive mold, and once it cools, it becomes this shape. And the reason why Foamposites, even back in 1998, came out for $180, super expensive back then, was because that mold is super pricey. So it's always maintained a very high premium cost, but it is a very unique material, still one of a kind. It is very durable, and the more you wear it, the more kind of molds to your feet and just starts to feel really comfortable. I've always liked Foamposite material, nothing like it on the market. And if you look at the color of this Foamposite, you might think from images, it's got that kind of reflective, shiny look, like a lot of those like metallic red Foamposites has. But this, it's actually kind of muted, so it's not like super white. I do prefer this kind of more muted and kind of matte look. Now moving on to the eye stays. Original Foamposites came with nubuck on that part of the shoe. They change it sometimes to like synthetic leather. For the shoe, again, they didn't go with nubuck, just like very pearly white leather with a mini white swoosh. I know some people are going to complain about that. They do just want a very OG, true to form nubuck on the eye stays. I've never really minded too much. Whatever material it is, as long as it looks good, I think I'm fine for the Foamposites. And moving up the tongue, you get this mesh tongue leading up to the jeweled penny 1 cent logo on the tongue itself, and it is still one of the best Nike athlete logos ever. It is timeless, and Penny Hardaway, even though this is not a technically Penny Hardaway signature shoe, he already had the Penny 1s and the Penny 2s by the time Foamposite came around. The story goes, he was in a meeting with Nike executives. They actually wanted this shoe for Scottie Pippen, but Penny Hardaway saw this, and he basically kidnapped it, and he stole it. And this became synonymous with Penny. Another place you'll see a Penny Hardaway logo, that 1 cent logo, stitched onto the booty of the shoe. So that's not just printed there, it is like embroidered onto the booty. And it does have 2 pull tabs. Every time I review a Foamposite, I have to complain about 2 pull tabs. I think 1 is the maximum amount that I would like on my sneakers, but it is a shoe that can be kind of hard to like stuff your feet in initially when the material's like not as broken into, so I guess the pull tabs does help, but aesthetically I prefer if it was just 1. And you can probably guess by now there's not a ton of ventilation on this shoe, just these 5 little dots at the top of the toe box, as well as that mesh tongue. So if you do have feet that is prone to sweating, yeah, keep that in mind, don't be gross. Now one thing that is kind of annoying on a colorway like this, especially on the sleeve here, it'll start to yellow over time. It'll start to look like you stepped on or played in some pee, but is what it is. At least out of the box, it is delicious and white. And if you look at the shape of Foamposites now, it is slightly a little bit sleeker and slimmer than the original Foamposite, and the material itself, I don't have one like in hand, like side by side to compare, but it does feel slightly softer, like just right out of the box. Now the shoe doesn't come with any extra laces, just white laces out of the box, and for a shoe that is meant to be all white, yeah, you can't really give us any extra laces. It should just stay as crisp, as white, and as clean as it is right now. And in terms of the cushioning, the Foamposite does come with a full-length zoom air unit with another zoom air unit on the heel, so it's actually double stacked there. And it also does come with a carbon fiber plate, so you see that right in the middle here poking through. If you didn't know, carbon fiber is super lightweight, so it doesn't add more weight to an already pretty bulky and heavy shoe. Super lightweight, but it's also very dense, so it does provide a lot of torsional rigidity as well as kinetic energy return. Remember, the Foamposite was meant for basketball initially, so those two things are very, very important. And in terms of the outsole, just herringbone traction, tried and true, with this kind of translucent material wrapping around the outside. This material is very good in like a well-maintained gym, very clean indoor gym, but if it's a dusty court, yeah, it does attract quite a bit of dust, so it's not the best there. But overall, if you still wanted to play in a Foamposite in 2025, I think the traction will still hold up. And the insole of the shoe, very basic, very generic, Nike Air insole. Yeah, nothing much to it. An all black Nike box, pretty common for a Foamposite. Regular paper inside with Nike branding. Now moving on to sizing comfort, I am a wide and flat footer for foams. I just stick true to size. It is one of those shoes where it can feel kind of stiff when you first put your feet in, and you really have to have patience, break it in, and then it becomes a super comfortable shoe. One thing that I don't love is there's not a ton of like padding around the ankles there, so it's not like soft and well padded like a Jordan 5, for example. Feels kind of thin, but everything else very, very comfortable. This booty sleeve system where the tongue is actually part of like the sleeve itself actually wraps around your feet very nicely under your feet in terms of the cushioning, even though it does have that carbon fiber plate, which can feel kind of stiff if you're not used to that type of tech setup. And it also is a pretty heavy shoe. It is also relatively like low to the ground, but if you're used to like basketball retro shoes, I think a Foamposite in 2025 is still very, very comfortable. And that brings the total sole score of the Foamposite Triple White to 31 out of 40. A pretty good score compared to other general releases. Now first, it is colorway. Triple white, all white, with a little bit of black on the logo area. You can't hate it. If you hate like an all-white sneaker, like hate it, you just might not be like suitable for society. Otherwise, at the very least, it's a nice looking colorway. It might not be super exciting, might be kind of common, but how can you hate an all-white sneaker? I don't think this is the best colorway or anything, but yeah, it's still very, very clean. And in terms of the materials, always love Foamposite materials. It is durable, it molds to your feet the longer you wear it. It is unique. This one doesn't have like that super, super shiny sheen on the upper. And in terms of the comfort, if you have patience, break it in. I think it just wraps around your feet very nicely the longer you wear it. It is still pretty heavy, so if that's like a huge priority to you, probably don't go for this shoe. But everything else, for casual use, I think it's really great. And in terms of the versatility, the shape of the Foamposite, I think some people might still think it's a little bit bulky and not too wearable, especially if you're not into like sneakers, like hardcore. You don't know what a Foamposite is. You just see this on a shelf somewhere. You might be like, hey, that's just weird. But if you're remotely into sneakers, you know what a Foamposite is. I think the shape is decently wearable. The colorway of this, come on. There is no color combination that is more wearable than an all-white sneaker. Even an idiot like me, who I would not call myself a fashion person in any sense, in any world, in any dimension or galaxy, but even an idiot like me can throw something on and at least look passable in a colorway like this. There's just not a lot to say about this shoe. It's an all-white Foamposite, and that's about it. But sometimes, not having much to say about a shoe is a very good thing. Just like an all-white Air Force One, it is clean, it is crisp, and it just works. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Nike Air Foamposite 1 Triple White. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come to wear your shoes.